What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Inside D3 show. I'm your host, Morgan Cheatham, back with a brand new intro for you guys. If you're one of our new viewers, then thank you for checking us out for the first time. If you're one of our day one viewers, then we appreciate you for sticking around since the beginning. So before we get started today, make sure you check us out on our website, InsideD3.com. Follow us on our Instagram and Twitter at D3Inside. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Inside D3 Athletics, where you can find all of our episodes as well. If you happen to be on the go and can't watch our videos, you can listen to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and Anchor. Also, be sure to check out the Mascot of the Week with Sam and any news that might drop in the meantime as well. And we got some good stuff planned for you guys for the summer, so we're definitely looking forward to that as well. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys, so hopefully you enjoy the show. We have Brad Bankston joining us on the show today. He is the commissioner of the Old Dominion Athletic Conference, or the ODAC. So welcome, Brad, and thank you for joining us today.
Morgan, thanks for having me, man. Looking forward to a good conversation with you this afternoon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's just start right off with, tell me who Brad is. So, give us a little background on you. What's the education background for you, some professional experience, and, if you have any playing, coaching experience, share that with us as well.
Sure. Well, it's a great question. I know a lot of people don't really know who I am, so I don't want to reveal too much to you. But no, it's my pleasure. I've been the commissioner of the Old Dominion Athletic Conference for 22 years, and frankly started here out of grad school. I did my undergraduate work, finished at Chapel Hill in North Carolina, went to Virginia Tech to grad school, and my professional path in the office is unique, I guess, in that I started as a graduate student as an assistant, basically. There were no full-time employees in the office. So when I left graduate school, they were growing the office at the time. Division III's conference office structure was entirely different than it is now. There was a part-time administrative assistant who was in the office for 2 hours, and a commissioner who was part-time, who at the time was also running the Big East football officials group. So he was on the road all fall. I ended up doing a majority of the administrative work. While I was in graduate school, I got out and they said, hey, it was working well. Let's bring him on. So they brought me on. I was very fortunate to start out with a full-time job right out of grad school and just hoping to get experience. And had it not been for a friend of mine who was working at a conference member at Hampton-Sydney at the time, honestly, wouldn't be where I am today. But I was very fortunate to be hired. My boss, Dan Waldridge, who laid a tremendous foundation in the conference for probably about 20 years, leaving in '96, decided he was going to retire. I still get a chance to see Dan on a regular basis at a local Rotary meeting and at all of the ODAC events that he chooses to kind of come out for. He's still going strong at 85 years old, and I was hired full-time based on his recommendation. So I'm not sure the professional path would be the same now from the standpoint of if I were to go through the process again, my interview process and my ability to be able to be in this position would look entirely different than it did in 1996. There's no question about that. I mean, just the process that we go through to hire someone in our office, and we've been very fortunate not to have a lot of staff turnover, but actually losing a staffer at the end of this month. And the process and the job descriptions and the advertisements and things that we'll be doing for that position were much different than I actually endured in the process of getting this job. So I guess you could call me lucky. You want to know who I am? I guess I'm lucky. And didn't play in college. Played baseball. Grew up in a house that athletics was really all it was about. My dad coached for over 30 years, and he was an athletics director at high school level. The baseball field at the county high school is named after him, and it's certainly not named after my prowess on the baseball field. It's named after his accomplishments that he had as a coach. So I want to make sure everybody understands that when he's gone and when I'm gone, it's certainly not about me. It was about him and all his accomplishments. Hopefully, it'll stay that way for many years in the future.
We'll take your word for it on that. Yeah. So. Yeah. 22, 23 years is a super long time. I'm not even 23 yet, so I can only imagine that you have, a lot of background in the ODAC. So I want to first just know a little bit of the history of the ODAC, if you have to, any information on that, which I'm sure you do. And then
Sure.
also what your role is as commissioner.
Yeah, the league was founded in 1976. So, Division III kind of came out of the college division in the NCAA in the early to mid 1970s. So our league was formed in 1976. There were a number of charter members. Fortunate for us, we've been able to keep all of those charter members since the original 1976 date of the founding of the league. And at the time, it was all male. So all of our athletic events were all male events. The AIAW at the time was still a very viable opportunity for female athletic programs at our member institutions and others across the country. And then when the AIAW kind of merged with the NCAA in the early 1980s, we took on women's athletics as well as men's athletics. So that's kind of the origin of the league. We've been very fortunate. We've had a very strong membership, a very stable membership over the years. We've had some members that have come in and out, but for the most part, our growth in the full sport world happened around 1989, 1990, where we took 2 members in. And then after that, we've accepted an additional 2 members after that, closer into the mid to the late 2010 timeframe. We're all in the state of Virginia with the exception of one school. Guilford College is in Greensboro. The other 14 members of the league, we're 15 members strong, are housed in the state of Virginia. So it's we're unique in that we've got a pretty large state, and we've had a very fortunate to be able to have a large number of those state private institutions that are playing Division III athletics participate in our league for many years, dating all the way back to the beginning of the league in 1976. My role, I think I wear a lot of hats, and I think that's what you'll find as you're doing your work with Division III. And again, thank you for everything you're doing to kind of carry the story about what Division III is. I know in our prep call, we had a little conversation about we really control our own story, right? We're putting that information out there, and thanks to you and your partners there who are kind of working to continue that message, because it's an important one to keep out in the front for everybody to follow Division III. I look at my role as being kind of the way that the office operates as a service-oriented business. And what you think of a service-oriented business is, if I'm going to participate in it, you're working for me. And we work for our members. And that may mean 1 week we're helping out with an event that they have on campus because they need extra bodies to, another opportunity of hosting a national championship where we're co-hosting with them, to implementing policy, and we're not Roger Goodell. Sometimes people look at a commissioner's role and say, hey, you're the enforcer. We enforce rules that our membership asks us to implement, and we do the best we can in doing that. So as we walk through the process and new members come into our office and I talk to them about our role with our membership, it's really all about service and providing a valuable opportunity for our student athletes, be it championships, regular season, programming, whatever we can do to make their experience better and to make our institutions look better and have their athletic departments kind of running on all cylinders. That's our job. That's what I look at our office to do. Regardless of what the job is, we try to do it the best we can to make them, I guess, take the load off of them and know that they shouldn't have to worry about the league. They should be able to worry about their athletics program and work in conjunction with us to make the league better and stronger as we've continued to do over the years.
Definitely. So what would you say are some of the keys to running a successful athletic conference? What are some of those things? I know there's a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, it's really simple stuff, right? I mean, I think that the world runs around communication and positive relationships, and isn't that what it's all about? Given everything that's going on in the world right now, we all are yearning for relationships. We're learning to be able to communicate better. We're learning to treat each other better, and that's really what we do. That's our core of what we represent in our office. Is it's all about relationships. It's all about communication, and again, I go back to service, and all 3 of those things go together. So we want to be a great resource to our institutions. I want to have a good relationship with our athletic directors, with our presidents, with our coaches. And I started that when I started the job. I've made it a purpose to actually go out on campuses, visit with people on their turf, have an opportunity to talk to them about their issues and meet their coaches. And I'm ashamed to say kind of as we've grown or as we've moved away from in-person meetings, which we've moved more to, we were doing the virtual meeting before the virtual meeting was the popular thing to do with COVID, right? It was, I guess we were ahead of the curve, but there were a lot of people at our level that were doing it for cost containment. And I've lost touch with some of our coaches groups, the way that I would have enjoyed spending time with them in the past, which would have been the 15 minutes before the meeting starts and the 15 minutes after, right? Where you had a chance to kind of talk to a new coach, get to know them a little bit better. You don't have this, I don't feel the same rapport over the internet, on the virtual Zoom type meeting as I do in person. And I miss that. I know one of the questions you had talked about is, what do you learn under the quarantine? What have you learned? I learned I like spending time with people, but I've also learned that this isn't that bad either, that we really can communicate. We've just been reluctant to do it for whatever reason. Maybe it's old school thought, but the idea that I could reach out to a colleague and instead of talking on the phone, talk much like we are right now, has been a lifeline to many of us in the midst of all of this, that we've been able to share and do those things together. So, the other thing is hire good people. This is just like simple business 101. It's hire good people, and get out of the way, and let them be creative about their ideas, have a common mission on what we're doing. And I've been very fortunate to have that in the office. And lastly, and probably most importantly, it's your membership. It's their camaraderie. It's their opportunity to work together. I think every commissioner would say they have the best league in the country, right? I'm sure that's our job, right? We're supposed to talk about how positive everything is. I can tell you unequivocally that the group of people that I work with on an athletics director standpoint, on an SWAs, even from the presidents, which I don't deal with as regularly as I do the ADs during the annual year, they are just good people, good human beings that are doing it for the right reasons, have invested in their programs appropriately, and have really made the league that much stronger because of the commitment they've made to their student athletes and their coaches. So, it's an honor for me to work for them, is the way I look at it.
I like that. I think you made a good point when you said, how important those connections are just with everybody within your conference. I was one of those people that liked to see, the faces of the people that were running our conference, and it was good to really put a face to them. A lot of times you see those higher ups as, exactly what they are, higher up people. But if you are able to see them on that same level as you and know that they really care about, their athletic program and the sport that they're, in theirs to support, then I love that part about it.
Well, that's really what it's all about. You're separated from, and I haven't really, I've never been immersed like a coach would have been working with student athletes on a regular basis, every day kind of thing, right? And that's a downfall of working in a conference office. So if somebody's watching this and they're going, hey, that might be a great job. Well, if you want the daily interaction with the student, this isn't for you. But what do we do for the students is we're working towards a product that we're listening to our membership telling us they want to provide to their student athletes in a regular season in a championship environment. I wish I had more of a chance to deal with students. We've had a very active, staff here that have done great work with our SAC. But, you're only as strong as your campus SACs. And many of the campus SACs are, and I know you've had an opportunity to participate, certainly there at Stevenson, or those chances when you were a student athlete, you make every effort to provide opportunity. At the same time, you guys are really busy people. And you're doing a lot of things on your own campus. So I've struggled personally with how active our SAC can be at the conference level, how much we ask of you to do. We've had some really good leaders that have moved on and served on the national SAC and actually taken leadership roles within the national SAC over the years. We have two young ladies and a young man that have done exceptionally well, left and done great things, right, with their careers. And all really dial much of it back to that experience. How much did you enjoy your student athlete experience? Hey, that time that I spent on the national SAC may have been the best 2 or 3 years that I ever had. So I'd love our people, our student athletes, to feel the same way about the conference SAC. But when you have, a lot of different members coming together, and some are more active on their campuses than others at certain times of the year, and then trying to find that balance between fall, winter, and spring student athletes, it becomes a difficult task. And if I had one regret, well, I probably have plenty of regrets. One of them would be that we don't spend enough time with our student athletes. But again, you guys have a lot going on, and we realize that. And we try to respect that as well, and try to schedule in a way that we don't infringe too much on your time as it is, because we know you're fully immersed in your sports, but you're there for an academic reason first and foremost.
I think we understand that you guys have a lot going on too. So
yeah, no.
We're not expecting the world from you.
Yeah. Well, to hear to say that you got the higher ups coming up. Now, man, we're just like you. We're just like you, and happy about being there and witnessing competition and watching our student athletes enjoy it. I mean, I can't tell you how much I enjoy really the joint championships. I know you were a track athlete, right? The track championship, the swimming championship are some of my favorites, because everybody's together. Golf, everybody's together at one location, and they're not only they competing, and they're competing hard. Everybody wants to win. They've got a drive to win and be successful, but they're also encouraging their opponent. And the amount of uplifting kind of messaging between competitors in events, outside of events, in those sports just totally amazes me. And I admire it every time I see it, and I get a great smile on my face when I have a chance to participate in those championships and hand out awards, because I see how much the journey means. And I know it means that way. It doesn't matter whether it's a team or an individual sport, but you really see it when everybody's together at one location, cheering each other on and recognizing their accomplishments. And it's a great opportunity to kind of see what collegiate athletics is all about.
Absolutely. So, since we're on that topic of the competitions, what are some of the highlights that you've had, as the commissioner? What are some of those things?
Yeah, they might be bad. They may be good highlights and bad highlights, because we
highlights and lowlights.
Yeah. Sometimes we have things that didn't work out too well. Some things we didn't handle particularly well. You hope you learn from those experiences and you move on. I think one of the things that stands out to me is we've taken a great deal of pride in how we structure our championships and provide those opportunities to our student athletes. And it's some cases we may be a little bit deeper by giving more teams an opportunity to compete in some of our team sports. But to me, one of the things that kind of resonates is the partnership that the conference has had with the city of Salem over the years. We hosted over 70 championships at the Division III level, from everything from the Stag Bowl that began in 1993 all the way through women's lacrosse and softball most recently, including women's basketball a year ago. That dedication to the athlete in Division III, not just within the ODAC, I think we benefited from those relationships without a doubt as a conference. But more importantly, I think the difference that we made for every student athlete in Division III from since 1993 moving forward, about how those championships have changed. A lot of that was driven by municipalities like Salem and their commitment to making those championship events bigger and better. I think is really painted with a broad brush across the entire division and made substantive changes to that program that have benefited everybody. So I'm probably as proud of that as I am anything else. But I guess from a conference perspective, I would say to you, just the amount of growth that I've seen in our league, the dedication our institutions have placed in their athletic department and their coaches' staffs, the tenure of our coaches is amazing to me. How long our coaches stay and how successful they've been in their programs, and how much we've grown in prominence in the country. We've got a large number of members, but now we're making noise and having an opportunity to make some noise in past conference championships into NCAA play. We've had some national championships. We had Virginia Wesleyan win the national championship in softball a couple of years ago, 2 years in a row. I mean, if you'd asked me that 20 years ago, would I have said that was a realistic goal? I would have thought, given where we were at the time, it would have been a very lofty goal and something that would have been very difficult to accomplish. But we're getting there. And most importantly, it's the strides that our institutions are making with their programs that are allowing us to do that.
So the last question I got for you for today, obviously you've been to a fair number of D1 schools, in UNC and Virginia Tech. I'm a Duke
Oh,
fan,
sure.
so I'm gonna, give you a little flack for being a UNC grad. But other than
Okay.
that, what are the reasons that you chose Division III as, your home?
Well, it's where I started, and as I've looked, I like the idea that you're not stuck in one lane, that you have the opportunity in our role, which can be a bad thing too. It can be a detriment at times that you're trying to, work on paying bills in the office, and at the same time you're worried about, whether the athletic trainer's meeting is going to go okay today when you're talking about returning from the virus, and how do you return? You're wearing so many hats that it keeps I think it keeps the experience fresh. Despite the fact I've done it for 22 years, every year is different. You're going to get the same questions on the third week of the fall about playing in practice seasons, preparation for the championship. They're coming, but at the same time, you have such an opportunity to make a difference in so many places that I think if we were at the Division I or even maybe the Division II levels, probably got a lot of similarities to Division III, maybe Division I, not so much. You're kind of in your lane, which can be a good thing sometimes. Hey, I know I have to run game ops and that's what I'm doing, and I'm not worried about anything else. I think the breadth of opportunity that you have at Division III at the administrative level is second to none. I've said this oftentimes: if somebody's looking to move into a job at the Division I level and there's an opportunity to interview somebody from Division III, without a doubt, I think that person has worked as hard or harder than somebody else has that may have only had one responsibility in one location. They've just had to do so much. And I just love it for the institutions, for what they stand for. I think the common answer is, hey, it's for the kids because they're playing for the love of the game. I'd tell you, I think everybody that plays collegiate athletics is playing for the love of the game, They really are. You wouldn't be doing it if you didn't want to play it and you didn't love it. But at Division III, it makes it that much better that you, as students, you're out there, and athletics is your secondary piece, right? It's all about getting your degree and moving forward with that world, and that's what makes Division III, in my mind, so special. And on top of that, the difference of the institutions. I mean, think about how different the institutions are. I mean, Division III has a membership of over 430 members. And it's a wide swath. You've got schools that might have 25 to 30,000 enrollment, all the way down to somebody that has 600. And somehow, as a division, despite our ineptitudes at times, I'm sure all of us, we're able to make it work, and we're able to do it in a way that, given the resources that we have from the association, it's a pretty good product. And I'm really proud to have been a part of that over the years, and look forward to being able to do that for many years to come.
Absolutely, yeah. We definitely thank you for finding a home in Division III, and we're looking forward to more of the successes that you guys are going to have in the future.
Well, keep following us, and we're going to keep following you, Morgan. Thanks for everything you're doing and all the work that you're putting in for Division III. And if there's anything we can do in the ODAC to help you out, please let us know.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you so much for joining us, Brad. We appreciate you coming on, and have a good week.
Same to you. Look forward to seeing you sometime soon.
So that does it for another episode of the Inside D3 Show. Thank you guys again for checking in. Stay tuned for more episodes. We drop them every Wednesday on all of our platforms. Also, stay connected on all of our platforms for any stories that might drop during the week as well. And also stay locked in for the Mascot of the Week with Sam B. Rock right after this, and you do not want to miss that. So, once again, I'm Morgan Cheatham. This is the Inside D3 Show, and we are signing off.